30 seconds.
Roger.
20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Roll's completed.
Roger, roll complete.
There goes the pitch.
Roger, pitch. You're on your way, Molly Brown.
Yeah, man.
We're a little bit high on the flight plans, but no problem, Molly Brown.
Okay, Molly Brown's go for staging.
Roger, looks good from here.
Roger. Program update received.
Roger, update.
Okay, there was staging.
Roger, stage.
And we're thrusting.
Okay, thrust looks good from here.
Show full scale round to there. Okay, we're starting to steer. The horizon's been right in view.
Roger.
Our GS is go.
Looks good from here.
Oh man, look at that.
Steering is good from here. Stand by to copy 2-1.
Roger.
Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger, copy Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger.
Now can I ring Capcom? Go ahead. Roger, your Texas burn will be 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. Okay, 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. So far, we got your TR and Gemini load in. Your clocks look good on the ground. Everything's good here. See you next week.
Molly Brown, Cape Capcom.
Go, Cape Capcom.
Look better from there than on a ballistic flight? Does it look better from there than on a ballistic flight?
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, boop boop, boop boop, beep boop, beep beep boop. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. It is Saturday night, 7:54 p.m. And I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for like 30 minutes to an hour, probably closer to 30 minutes. I haven't really done very many streams since we've moved into the new house, and just been super busy putting together furniture, making sure the house is okay. Christmas, and I'm trying to get back in the swing of things with streaming. So this is the first stream I've done in like a week. Welcome one and all. It's good to see everybody. I hope everybody is having a fantastic I guess start to their weekend. It's the middle of the weekend, and the days are running together right now because Christmas and everybody's off, and it's the weekend now, and oh man, it's all so confusing. But welcome to the stream, one and all. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I saw, who was that? Before the stream even technically began, Christopher Donahue, thank you so much for coming in with the first super chat and channel support of the stream, man. I appreciate the hell out of that. I hope you're having a good weekend. Christopher says, did you overall like The Rise of Skywalker? I enjoyed it, smiley face. I am pretty split on it, Chris, to tell you the truth. It is... I keep describing it as, like, to me, it just felt like a very, very just generic blockbuster to me. A lot of it was just kind of, just I don't know, it just felt like it could have been any generic science fiction movie, but it happened to be a Star Wars movie. Does that make sense? Like, it just did not feel very inventive or unique. It felt very kind of, I don't know, just like broad brush stroke of a big bowl of generic paint. But that's just me. So, you know, I've only seen it once. I'm sure after I watch it again, whenever I get a chance to do so, the things that I disliked about it will probably subdue a little bit. But overall, man, I had a conversation with a couple of my buddies after they saw it, and we grabbed some beers, and we all three of us felt very, very similar about it. It was just kind of a generic blockbuster, not much, we you know, story-wise, we were all extremely underwhelmed. The only things that we really enjoyed in it were, you know, Rey and Kylo's relationship, because that is one of the more interesting things in this entire sequel trilogy, and I think they played that up pretty nicely, but yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Chris. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm pretty 50-50 split on the movie, to tell you the truth, so... yeah, we'll see. We'll see what I think after a second viewing that I probably won't get around to until the movie's out on Blu-ray. So yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Vince Wynn, thank you for the super chat and channel support. Did you? Oh, a cheers right back at you. Hear it? Cheers. Do you hear it? Ding, ding, ding. Cheers right back at you, Vince. It's good to see you, man. I hope you're having a good start to your week. I hope you had a good Christmas, man. Christmas was a lot of fun here. It was kind of chaotic. We hosted Christmas, so you know, my family came over, my wife's family came over. We had only been in the house for less than a week, and then we decided to host Christmas, and we quickly realized that it was going to be a little more nerve-wracking than we initially thought. Oh, one sec.
Nothing like in TLJ, like the Holdo maneuver, Luke and Yoda. Luke's walk out to face the First Order, etc. Things in Trust meant to be moments just fell flat for me.
Rebo Bricks and A3, thank you guys so much for the super chats and channel support. I appreciate it. Give me one sec, guys. But yeah, cheers right back at you, Vince. I hope you had a good little holiday, little Christmas break there. Rebo Bricks, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Rebo says, got your book the other day, and I have been truly, truly enjoying it so far. Thanks for making it. Well, dude, thank you so much for the kind words. You know, Rebo, and if anybody's curious, he's talking about this book, and it's available now on Amazon. Only $10.99. The story of my 33 years of existence on planet Earth. And the story of this YouTube channel, I suppose. But yeah, Rebo, it was incredibly nerve-wracking putting that thing out, right? As you can tell by kind of the first opening pages of the book, there were a lot of wishy-washy, nerve-wracking feelings about putting something like this out, because it's a very personal book for me. It's a very personal journey, and I didn't know how that would be received. You know, I think maybe people were looking for... Or I was hoping that people weren't thinking that it was just gonna be, you know, a Star Wars book through and through. It's very personal. So to know that you're enjoying it, to know that you're getting something out of it, hopefully, means the world, man. So thank you so much for picking it up, Rebo. And yeah, I'm glad you dig it, man. But yeah. And A3, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support as well. All right. Wait, where did it go? There we go. A3 says, sadly, The Rise of Skywalker lacked moments for me. That's a really good, yeah, like, well, I'll continue reading it. Nothing like in TLJ when Holdo maneuver, Luke and Yoda, Luke's walk out to face the First Order, etc. Things in The Rise of Skywalker meant to be moments just fell flat for me. Me as well. The one moment that really, I mean, everything with the Emperor pretty much fell flat with me. I could not get past the goofiness of it as a concept, the lack of imagination of it as a concept. I could not get past it. The one I would call it moment that that would be on par with the TLJ moment, is when Rey and Kylo are kind of having their confrontations, their lightsaber fights, where the two of them are not really there, you know what I mean? And they physical material transfers back and forth. There's moments like that between them that I think they didn't impact me the way a lot of the scenes that you're describing and remembering impacted me, but they were the more standout scenes for me in The Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, dude, the scenes that Holdo maneuver Luke and Yoda, Luke's walk out to face the First Order. Luke's walk out to face the First Order is such a unique. I mean, that's what I want in my Star Wars, right? That unique twists and turns. That was such a beautiful Jedi Luke Skywalker moment. And I will never forget the feeling that I had when I first saw that in the theater. Why didn't he come out and actually fight them? You're missing the point. You're missing the point. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. But A3, I'm right there with you, man. There wasn't very many memorable moments for me. Maybe people loved the Emperor stuff, but to me, it just kind of completely fell flat, as you put it. But A3. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And I hope you're having a good weekend. Ryan Jost, it broke new ground. I'm a big Red Letter Media fan, so. But, oh man. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Ryan Jost. It broke new ground. They were talking about Solo. No, they were talking about Rogue One. That's right. They were talking about Rogue One. Still my favorite YouTube channel. It's funny how people, like Ryan, I don't know why I don't think very many people that are in the Star Wars community have really given their YouTube channel a watch. They just see them as the Star Wars prequel guys. And that's not even my favorite stuff that they do. You know what I mean? And I think people see them without actually watching them as vitriolic and hateful, which I couldn't see them. I don't believe that to be remotely true, you know. But anyway, I appreciate that, Ryan. And Gooner Chiefs fan 123, LSU won big. Yeah, I saw that. We turned it on when we were eating dinner, and LSU was up like 40 something to, I don't know, 14 maybe. Let's see LSU. What was the final score? I don't remember what it was at halftime. Oh wow. Final score was 63-28. See, like when I turned it on, I was kind of excited to watch a little bit of football while we were eating dinner, right, Gooner? And then when you see a score like that, you just kind of go, what? Huh? What? It doesn't make me want to watch it, right? Like whenever, let's just say Gator football fans, right? Or Buckeye fans. But I have family that are Gator fans. I have family that's Buckeye fans. And whenever they play teams and they're winning like 63-0, is it really enjoyable to watch? I don't know. I just get bored out of my mind, right? I would at least. But, am I still... Seriously, am I still streaming? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I am still streaming. That was so weird, man. I've never had that happen before. Do you guys still hear me? Apparently, you got to leave a super chat to get a response. No, you don't.
Christmas, but here's some channel support beer and new house fund. The last episode of the Mandarin and LSU WHO dat. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much. Give me one sec, guys. I'm gonna try to catch up here. Okay, so I'm glad you guys can still hear me. I realized that I was logged out of YouTube. I guess I'm still logged in, and I don't have to be logged in to stream, technically. That was very strange. I've never had that happen before. I literally just had to log back into YouTube to see my viewer count and the likes and everything like that. Very interesting. I don't know. Anyway, Gunnar, I appreciate that, man. And Mr. Wolfman, the French-Canadian Wolfman, best things in the movie were Kylo and Hey, Babu Frick. Babu Frick was fun, for sure. I'm curious, was who voiced Babu Frick? Was that I heard J.J. Abrams did that.
I can finally catch a stream I didn't dig. 9 felt like RLM wrote it because they know Star Wars. It could have been so much more, but it was too much to cram in one movie like it was both 8 and 9 together.
Yeah. Brandon Gray 666, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Guys, and I appreciate the patience as well. I'm a little long-winded here. So that definitely was not J.J. Abrams. Somebody told me that was J.J. Abrams. That voiced it. Apparently, Harry Potter's Moaning Myrtle is the voice of Babu Frick in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Interesting. That's kind of neat. I forgot about that character. But yeah, Babu Frick was fun, for sure, Wolfman. But yeah. Yeah, Kylo. I love Kylo as a character. Adam Driver is the best actor I think that's ever been in Star Wars. We watched The Report the other night, the Amazon Prime movie about the CIA and the torture program and the report and all. I don't know. It's a very interesting movie and stuff like that's important to know for history. But he's so fantastic in it. He's fantastic in everything that I've ever seen him in. So, JJ voiced Dio. That's where I heard it. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh man, maybe the stream is heavily delayed. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway. Yeah, Adam Driver kicks ass, man. And Bruce Apocalypse, thank you so much. Would any Mandalorians from stories past possibly show up in future seasons to help give way more lore for the Mandalorian culture? This is the way. Bruce, it's not necessarily something that I would need or want. I kind of like the idea of the only things that we learn about this culture being from a distant perspective, right? Through this one character for the most part. I don't necessarily need to see, characters from the past pop up in this show. I think it would almost take away from the uniqueness of this show. The show being like a completely new blank canvas for whatever Star Wars story you want to throw onto it, right? So anything's possible. It's absolutely possible. But for me, if anything like that happened, it would do nothing for me. I know a lot of people say like they want to see Boba Fett in the show and stuff like that. I don't, it would do nothing for me. It would feel so ham-fisted and forced to me that why would you do that? Have a good thing going with new characters, fun new characters. Everything in the show is so inventive and new. That's what's fun about it, right? New characters. Why throw, you got a good mix in the blender. Why throw something that doesn't fit just for the sake of throwing it into the blender, right? But anyway, I appreciate that, Bruce. I'm about to sneeze. I all of a sudden I'm getting a cold, man. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. Let me take a quick sip, guys. Nick Plays. Thank you, Mr. Nick. I think the prequel trilogy is better than the sequel trilogy. What do you think? I see why people think that. I like... See, the way that I look at the prequel trilogy now that I've seen a lot of the Clone Wars, I only have season 6 to go, and I'm going to watch season 6 from now until the 7th season comes out for the Clone Wars. But I look at the prequel trilogy through the lens of the Clone Wars as well. So it's kind of hard for me to differentiate now. Just looking at the movies themselves, I like the sequel trilogy better. I understand why people like the prequel trilogy better, especially when it comes to setting up the world, right? There's a lot of great kind of inventive world building in the prequel trilogy.
I find it fascinating that somewhere someone's first look into Star Wars would be The Mandalorian. Now we can have generations of kids who grow up with SWTV and not just films.
Very true. Very true. That's an interesting thought as well, Cosmic. Give me 1 sec, man. Oh shit, what was I saying? Yeah, the thing that I've always really appreciated about a lot of the prequel content is that world building, is that setting up kind of, I don't know, there's a feel of, well, the Clone Wars does it way better than the movies, in my opinion. The Clone Wars actually shows you know, the Confederacy, the separations, the factions splintering, and it's a much better broad picture of what, you know, is going on in the prequels. But for me, my Star Wars has always been about feel, right? Some people love the minutia, the tiniest details, and they need to know all that stuff. They need to know why this and that is happening and who this and that is, and you know, the tiny details. When I watch a Star Wars movie, for me, it's all about the movie magic, the movie making, and the feel of it, you know. And the sequel trilogy just hits me more than the prequel trilogy ever did. The Phantom Menace came out in '99. I was 13 years old. And I kind of always had a wishy-washy feeling about it, the prequel trilogy since then, you know. I never was all of that into it. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Nick. You are definitely not alone there, Nick. I'm sure it's 50-50. Maybe even more so in the favor of the prequel trilogy. Who knows? But it's interesting. And Perennial Cub, thank you so much, man. Do you want Boba Fett to be in The Mandalorian? I guess I just kind of talked about that. I apologize, but 1 sec. Okay. 1 sec. I just got a text. My apologies. Okay. No, Perennial, I do not want Boba Fett in this show. You know, I keep saying that, well, the show is doing such a great job of keeping everybody engaged with new characters, new ideas, new scenarios, new stories, right? And that's what I want out of Star Wars. I don't want to have to keep mulching over the same characters. To me, it would feel so weird and goofy. You know, after we have such a good thing going and such an inventive new series that kind of captures that kind of, I don't know, that uniqueness of Star Wars, to then all of a sudden introduce something that we're already familiar with would be so out of left field and unnecessary, in my opinion. Looking at the great job they've done with the unfamiliar so far, you know what I mean? That the idea of Boba Fett being hamstrung into the show for what? For what reason? I don't know. Just to see Boba Fett again? You know, it would make the universe feel small. And it just does not seem necessary to me, you know? But anyway, I appreciate that, Perennial. And Ross Forrest, thank you so much for the super chat as well. I feel as if we really didn't need another trilogy. That's my buddy actually. My buddy actually said something very interesting to me. I like the sequel trilogy more than he does. He really liked The Last Jedi. He thought The Force Awakens was okay, and he did not care for The Rise of Skywalker. And he said something to me. He said, you know, how did he put it? He said, well, it seems like this experiment has failed. And I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. I disagree, but what experiment? The non-George Lucas Star Wars experiment? The Disney Star Wars experiment? It was kind of an interesting way to look at it as a leap into something new territory for Star Wars. Just the way he phrased it was very interesting to me, looking at it as like an experiment into new and unlinked material. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway. I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way that you do, Ross, but you know, a lot of people felt the same way back when the prequels came out. Did we really need this? I mean, did it really add much anything? You know, basically the beginning of A New Hope when we find out that, you know, that we hear about the Clone Wars from Obi-Wan Kenobi at the beginning of A New Hope. We briefly learn a little bit about Anakin. You know, he was a good friend. That was all just kind of like, you know, context. That was all exposition, setting up things to come, setting up purpose. And it was exposition for exposition's sake. And then it got turned into a 3-part trilogy and cartoon. And so a lot of people kind of felt the same way about things in 1999, I suppose, right? But I appreciate that, man. And Mr. St. Jake, good to see ya, man. I appreciate that generous super chat this evening. Merry Christmas, bud. Here's some channel support beer. Cheers, by the way. And new house fund. The last episode of The Mandalorian. Oh, and LSU, who dat? Go Tigers. Yeah, that was a huge win. We turned it on during dinner, and they were up like 40-something to 14 or something like that. And when scores get so outrageous like that, it's just kind of, I tune out. I turn the channel to anything else. But dude, I appreciate that support, man. New house is great. See, it was kind of funny. Yesterday, we took down our Christmas decorations. And that was a lot earlier than we normally would take down our Christmas decorations. And the reason we took them down early is because the day that we moved into the house 2 weeks ago, exactly 2 weeks ago. What's today? Oh no, about a little over 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks and a day or so. The day we moved in, we had our Christmas tree, and we put our Christmas tree up, and we started putting Christmas decorations around the house, right? The day we moved in. So we had never seen our house without the Christmas tree taking up like half, a good chunk of our wall space and living room. We had never seen like our staircase without garland. So we wanted to see what our house would look like without all this stuff. And we started laughing yesterday because without the Christmas tree in the spot where it was, the walls look naked and there's so much more room and we don't know what to do with it. We might put a big potted plant or something like that. I don't know, a big canvas, but why am I saying this? I don't know. But dude, it's pretty. I wake up and I'm like, wow, this is a brand new house. It's still hard to believe. We actually met our neighbors today, being nosy. We were being nosy. So it was raining, and there's a house being built next to us, and it was raining, and we just walked next door with my daughter. And we were just hanging out in the back patio, screened in back patio. And we're like, let's go check out this house being built next door. All it is framing, and they have the roof up. Nothing else is in there. It's bare bones. And we were walking around bottom floor, and we started walking upstairs. Everybody walks into these under construction homes, and we walk upstairs, and the couple that are buying the house were up there like having a glass of wine, and we were like, oh shit. It was kind of like, oh no, but they were so nice about it. They were like, yeah, we walk into everybody's house around here. So they were super cool about it. I was actually drinking a beer in their house. So I cheers the guy, and it was just kind of funny, That's how we met our neighbors. But yeah, anyway, man, I appreciate that. And I hope you had a good Christmas. And a good weekend here. But I appreciate that, man. And Carter Lovejoy, who do you think won this quote-unquote fan war? I'd say nobody won, not even TFM at the slightest. I assume they're acting like they did, but truth be told, no one for or against the ST did. The divide is equal. I never saw it as a fan war. And what is that? Oh, I broke a piece of my mic stand when I was moving it, and there's shards of plastic on the floor. Yeah, I never saw it that way. I guess I don't look at it that cynically, Carter. There's people that didn't like the stuff. There's people that do like the stuff. And it's, to me, I think the reason that I'm so nonchalant about it, or so, I would say even keeled about it, is that we've been here before. I was active on forums and, comic shops when I was 13 years old, when the prequels were coming out. And I saw the divide back then too. So I think that's probably why I am way more shrug of the shoulders than some people are. It's just because, Star Wars sticks around. Some people like stuff, some people don't. And what can you do? That's just kind of how I've always seen it. I've seen the vitriol before. I've seen the anger. I've seen the nonsense. And it's all dumb. It's all dumb stuff, So nobody wins. Nobody loses. Movies just are, right? They are. We are not in control of the narrative. Any YouTuber who thinks that the person that's making the thing that they're watching is watching their YouTube channel is so full of shit and needs to check their goddamn ego. It's embarrassing.
Hope you and
So,
family had a
that's
great
not a
Christmas.
war, man. Oh, one sec.
SW has done fantastic with Fallen Order Ross and the Mandalorian fantastic Sari. I hope 2020 becomes a good year for the HG channel. More cloaks to imps, Krennic, Moff Gideon, etc.
Sappity, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the hell out of that channel support this evening. I hope you had a good Christmas as well, and I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I'm a little long-winded, so give me a few minutes here, man. I appreciate that, though. And Brandon Gray 666, happy late holidays. I can finally catch a stream. I didn't dig 9. Felt like RLM wrote it because they know Star Wars. It could have been so much more, but it was too much to cram in one movie like it was both 8 and 9 together. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. To me, and I keep saying this, it just felt like a big generic blockbuster, right? It felt like superhero movies. It felt like it just felt super generic to me. Nothing really new, nothing inventive. They literally bring back a character. I don't know. That's still something that I just do not understand. Well, Raya Johnson didn't leave them with anything. What? That's such a dumb thing to say. That's their job. They're there to write. They're there to carry over. They're there to create new and fresh ideas. What have I been saying on this channel for almost a decade now? Let's not mulch over the same shit. And what do? They mulched over the same shit. So yeah, I didn't really care for it either. I'm pretty 50-50 on it, to tell you the truth. It just felt, I don't know. The way you put it, it was both 8 and 9 together. It did not feel like a sequel. It did not feel like a continuation. It felt like a side quest. It felt like a complete turn in another direction. A lot of it did, at least. And it was a pretty just kind of shrug of the shoulders from me, with, I would say, 50% of the movie. The things that I really liked. The things that I was just kind of like meh about, were pretty prevalent. A lot of the movie, but yeah, Brandon, I'm kind of with you there. It was a lot to cram in. It I don't know, man. Just did not feel very unique or inventive, and that's kind of what I want in my Star Wars movies, Very predictable. Very predictable. But yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, Brandon. And Danny Madrigal, thank you so much, man. Biggest issue with The Rise of Skywalker is the Emperor. I genuinely enjoyed it, but I wish they would have expanded upon themes in The Last Jedi. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. The Emperor coming back is one of the... Just the what do you do? What do you do? I don't know. Let's just bring back... let's make a third Death Star. Let's make a second Death Star. Let's bring back the Emperor. It's leading into the movie, when we first found out that the Emperor was going to be back in the kind of in the franchise in some shape or form, I kind of held my opinion about it until we saw it in the movie, right? I kept saying things like, I bet it'll be pretty subtle. I bet it'll be, I can't imagine that the Emperor is going to be shooting lightning out of his fingertips. I kept saying that. And what does he do? He shoots lightning out of his fingertips. So I was reserving my judgment until I saw it in the movie, and when I saw it in the movie, it was kind of like everything that I was hoping it wouldn't be. Just a big over-the-top generic. I don't know. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I dislike about it, Danny. It just a big bowl of generic shrug of the shoulders to me. But well, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Sergio, thank you so much as well. Kylo should have been the big bad. The Rise of Skywalker just proves to me that JJ is a spineless filmmaker. Nothing about TFA/TLJ feels like it can lead to The Rise of Skywalker. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's I would have loved to be in the writer's room when they were coming up with the ideas for The Rise of Skywalker. It just feels like, I don't know. It's just who thinks. Do people like that? I just can't get in the mindset. I understand that everybody likes different stuff about Star Wars, but it's one of those things where I can usually empathize and sympathize and get into the headspace of people that I disagree with, and I can see their point of view, but this is something that I just like, really? That's what you guys wanted? That's what you wanted? The Emperor is back again in a movie. It's not really explained, not that it needs to be. It feels so goofy and forced. He conjures up a fleet. They all have Death Star big guns. And it was just kind of, like I said, just a big bowl of generic. But yeah. I don't know. I agree. Kylo being the supreme leader, the big bad, as you put it, Sergio, would have been a really interesting thing to see. I would have liked that. I would have liked to see ruthless Kylo at the tip top of the totem pole and the tip top of the chain of command, you know. But yeah, Sergio, I appreciate that, man. And Franz Nerdnan and Werner Herzog's voice, I would like to eat the baby. That's creepy when I think I can't do his voice. But yeah, Werner Herzog is awesome. I don't think I had ever seen him in anything before. You know, obviously, I've seen his documentaries. I've seen a few of them. The first one of his that I ever saw was Grizzly Man. So I did not know he acted. I did not know he had done things before, acting-wise, until I found out that he was going to be in the Mandalorian. So to see him in the show, and his presence in the show is so kind of it's the way that I described Moff Gideon, right? They're very similar in their delivery, I suppose. They're very Werner Herzog's character. I can't remember his name. Do we ever find out his name? I don't know. Is he just the client? But him and Moff Gideon have a very, it's like a professorial delivery, right? They're super smart. They're relatively pleasant, and they'll smile at you as they're plotting your demise, right? It's a creepy Silence of the Lambs kind of smile at you while they want to eat your face, you know. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Werner Herzog in this series so far. 2 big thumbs up from the old HelloGreedo. But I appreciate that, Franz. It's good to see you, man. And Cosmic Reader, thank you so much as well. I find it fascinating that someone's first look into Star Wars would be The Mandalorian. Now we can have generations of kids who grow up with Star Wars TV and not just films. Yeah, that is a very, very interesting thing to think about. You know, Star Wars live action TV show has always been something that, you know, people have talked about, right? Wouldn't it be awesome if they did this? Wouldn't it be awesome if they did that? And now we have a Star Wars live action TV show, and yeah, it's awesome. So the idea that some kid, some like 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid is sitting down, turning on Disney Plus, and firing up a Star Wars TV show, perhaps before they even see like a sequel trilogy movie or The Rise of Skywalker, is fun and interesting to me, because it's kind of a whole nother side of Star Wars that started with this new generation, right? So it's pretty awesome. Oh, one sec.
On Disney as a lead in promo. Adam Driver killed it. He was solid from the whole trilogy. I was hoping he would make it to set up for Ray and Ben's Kids trilogy.
Brandon Gray 666, thank you so much once again, man. Give me one sec. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, man, to have so many kind of creative facets out there to kind of enjoy Star Wars through, right? We got, I mean, you've always had books, you've always had comics. There've been Star Wars shows, you know, Clone Wars. But there's, I mean, really more than ever. And it's pretty nuts. But yeah. So The Mandalorian has to be somebody's first look into Star Wars, right? It's kind of interesting to kind of think about if you'd never really seen a Star Wars thing and just only known about it in the periphery, and The Mandalorian is the first thing you ever saw. How would it be received by you? It's interesting to think about. I would love to talk to somebody whose first dive into Star Wars was The Mandalorian. See what they think. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. In French Canadian, Wolfman, Last Jedi is the only Disney-era movie that was original and didn't rely on the familiar for money. Last Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars movie, but I'll take the flawed but original prequels over Ep 7 and Ep 9 any day. The Last Jedi is without a doubt the most unique and original Star Wars movie of this generation. Perhaps the most unique and risky Star Wars movie since The Empire Strikes Back. No, I won't say that. The prequels are very risky. You know, George Lucas he's said very many times. You can look these quotes up. I'm going to butcher them if I try to say them verbatim, so I'm not going to. But he's talked about how, you know, The Force Awakens basically gave the fans what they wanted. That's not what he would want to do. He wants to make the movies that he would want to make, right? So that's what we got with the prequels. So that's why I do respect, and The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie of this generation. Because it took chances. It introduced new concepts. It was not predictable. It was a film. It was beautiful. It was risky. And there's twists and turns, surprises. And that's what I want in a movie. Everything about The Rise of Skywalker, to me at least, was incredibly predictable and quite generic. But yeah. And so, yeah, I've always said that The Force Awakens is the safest Star Wars movie ever made. So, you know, I think we see eye to eye on that. I still really enjoy it for that kind of kick in the teeth of nostalgia. You know, after a decade of not having a Star Wars movie, boom, you know, we're off to the races with one that feels kind of reminiscent of the movies that I grew up loving. And I love it for that reason, right? But I love the Last Jedi for a very, very different reason. But yeah. Anyway, Wolfman. I appreciate that. In Star Wars Cantina, let me take a quick sip. Star Wars Cantina, cool question. Star Wars Cantina. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Star Wars Cantina. Everybody check out his channel. HelloGreedo. I've just started my own Star Wars channel, and I was wondering if you have any advice for me, as I'm very new to all of this. Thank you. So, my advice is usually, man, I actually wrote an entire chapter in the book about YouTube and giving advice of what to do and what not to do, but most of it is just kind of like my own personal perspective, and it's not something that gets you a lot of views and stuff like that, right? But I always harp on a bunch of things. For one, I think one of the things that you really need to if you're going to do YouTube a lot, one of the things that's incredibly important is to not let negative comments get under your skin. You know, in the first year or so of this channel, whenever I saw a negative comment, it could be 200 comments that are positive and like thumbs up, attaboy, keep doing the fun videos, I enjoy it. And then there'd be one that was negative, and I would harp on that one. And it quickly dawned on me that who cares? Just stop paying attention to it. Make what you want to make, right? That's what it all boils down to, Star Wars Cantina. Make what you want to make. Don't feel like you need to make things that, kind of jive with whatever anybody else is making. A lot of not only Star Wars channel, but a lot of movie channels, a lot of video game channels kind of do the exact same thing, right? There's a sea of YouTubers out there who complain about the same exact thing day in, day out. There's a sea of YouTubers who talk about the same exact thing day in and day out. What's going to set your channel apart from the sea of Star Wars YouTubers, a sea of movie YouTubers, a sea of people complaining and gushing, right? What's going to set that channel apart? And the thing that sets it apart is you. Your personality, what you have to say. So whenever you go to make a video, make it the most authentic kind of representation of your thoughts you possibly can. Make the video as if you were sitting down with a few of your buddies. Make the video like you would talk to them, right? If that makes sense. So, make the thing that you want to make. That's really what it boils down to. If you see something that's working, if one of your videos takes off and you, then most people would probably recommend doing the same thing over and over and over again. You see so many creators do that, Star Wars Cantina, right? That you see a video splash, make a big splash, gets a lot of views, they get a lot of new subscribers, and what do? It's understandable, it's instinct. They make the exact same video again almost. They talk about the same exact thing, same exact topic. Boom, boom, boom. We've seen YouTubers do this hundreds of times. Some YouTubers make the same exact type of video, the same exact title video, the same exact video hundreds of times. And if you're looking for creative integrity and looking at YouTube as a creative project, which I do, then you don't want to fall into the trap of just mindlessly making the same thing over and over again, right? So change up your procedures, change up, your delivery, change things up and just feel it out. So I know that is not good advice. But what it boils down to, Star Wars Cantina, is talk about what you want to talk about. Talk about it as if you were, sitting down with your buddies talking about this stuff. Be authentic. Tell your true opinions. Don't feel like you need to mesh with whatever everybody else is thinking. Don't harp on negative comments. And have fun with it. That's the biggest thing. Have fun with it. That's it. But yeah. But I appreciate it. Best of luck. Best of luck, Star Wars Cantina. I'll have to check it out after the stream. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Mr. Wolfman, French Canadian Wolfman, thank you so much once again for the super chat and channel support. Force Awakens and Last Jedi would have been better as the first two movies of Star Wars reboot than a follow-up to Episode 6. I choose to forget Episode 9. Puke face, puke face, puke face, puke face. So no follow-up. I see what you're saying. See, I like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi as follow-ups, as sequels. Episode 9 felt like such a derailment to me. We had a good thing going, in my opinion, right? And The Rise of Skywalker felt like such a derailment of what came before. I don't know. I do like them as sequels, though. I do like them as follow-ups. For very different reasons, as I said earlier, but yeah, the more I think about The Rise of Skywalker, the less it's kind of it's more of a shrug of the shoulders than even when I got out of the theater for the first time, right? But and I'm curious, after I see it a few more times, how will I feel about it? You never know. It could grow on me. I'm sure I'll like the things that I liked as much, and maybe the things that I disliked about it will subdue it a little bit, but I doubt it. Whenever I think about the things that I don't like, it's just kind of a big bowl of generic whatever, but I didn't hate it. But I'm pretty 50-50 on it. As I said it's kind of funny, the movie came out, 2 weeks ago? I've made one video about it. Dude, I could have made 200 videos about why I didn't like it, but, you know, I'm not that guy. I'm definitely going to make more videos about it, but but I appreciate that, Wolfman. And Sully Hog, good to see you, man. Get this game called The Outer Worlds. It's space Skyrim / Fallout, and it's fun as hell with some really cool lore. You'd love it, Mr. G. Yeah, my buddy was telling me about it. Let's see, The Outer Worlds. It kind of reminded me, at least just visually, of oh, maybe not. I was gonna maybe a little bit BioShock. I was gonna say BioShock, but maybe a little bit. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of BioShock. Yeah, that was The Outer Worlds is something that I was kind of keeping an eye on for a little bit, and then that just, for whatever reason, I never ended up picking it up. I wanted to get it. It came out in October, I see. I didn't realize that, but I still haven't beaten Red Dead Redemption, Sully. So, I'm sure eventually I'll end up picking it up and playing it when I have a little bit more time, but kind of right now, my video game playing is non-existent. My Xbox is plugged into my downstairs living room TV, but I haven't turned it on once. I haven't played. Have I played a video game? I haven't played a PC game since I've lived in this new house. I don't think I have. I haven't done a Battlefront stream, I don't think, since I've lived in this new house. I haven't played Jedi Fallen Order, so, you know, I'm sure once we get fully moved in and all the stuff is unboxed and we're kind of settled, I'll go back to streaming stuff like that and playing some games, but it's probably going to be a few years before I get The Outer Worlds, and it's probably going to be like $10 when I do, so. Anyway, I appreciate that, Sully. And Mr. Sapity, thank you so much for the super chat, channel support. Hope you and the blah blah blah. I can't speak. Hope you and the family had a great Christmas. Star Wars has done fantastic with Fallen Order, Rise of Skywalker, and the Mandalorian fantastic series. I hope 2020 becomes a good year for the HG channel. More cloaks to imps. What does that say?
Thank you, Greedo. That really means a lot. As a very small channel, it means so much to hear from you. Thank you for taking the time to talk. I'll have to check out your book. Love the title, BTW.
Thanks, man. Star Wars Cantina, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Give me one sec. Yeah, Sapity, Christmas was great. My daughter, I wish I could post the pictures. I took pictures of her coming down the steps and just smiling and running towards the tree. We put together everything, the night before, had it under the tree, and we were just super excited to see her reaction in the morning, and it did not disappoint for sure. It was a good Christmas, definitely a good Christmas. Yeah, so a lot of great Star Wars stuff in the past few months, right? Fallen Order, Mandalorian, The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of people seem to like it. For me, pretty 50-50 on it. Yeah, 2020 is going to be a fun year for the channel, because it's going to be different for sure. It's the first time. Well, I won't say that. I guess technically it is, but it's the first time in this channel's existence where we don't know for sure the release date of a new Star Wars movie. That's not necessarily true, because I started this channel in 2011, about a year before Disney acquired the franchise, so I had no idea that they were ever going to make new Star Wars movies again. So, but this is kind of it'll be an interesting time. I plan on, obviously finishing the Clone Wars before February when the new season comes out, watching season 7 of the Clone Wars when it comes out, as it comes out, making videos about it. And then other than that, I'm probably going to do a lot more goofy parody videos for 2020, kind of weird stuff, and doing a lot more history videos that I love to do. I love researching for stuff on this channel, so probably a lot of that kind of stuff, and just looking forward to what's coming next. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Nick plays. What was the worst Star Wars game that you have played? Ooh, Nick, what was the worst Star Wars game that I've ever played? That's tough. So there was a game called Yoda Adventure. Is that what it was called? Yoda Adventure? No. Oh, Yoda Stories. Yoda Stories. Man, was that bad? I'm trying to... What was the worst Star Wars game that I've ever played? God, that's tough. That's really tough, Nick. I can't pick a worse. I'm going to say Yoda Stories. I have... Let me say this. I haven't played all the Star Wars games. I haven't played, like, Carter just said Connect Star Wars. Never played it. I kind of know about it, the Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, the song and dance stuff, but never played it. I never played, back in the day, I never played, like, the Bounty Hunter game on the GameCube. Never played that. I never played Republic Commando when it came out. There's a lot of Star Wars games that I never played. So the game that I think I disliked more than any other game when I was a kid was a game called Yoda Stories. I haven't played it, and actually downloaded it a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and played a little bit of it. I think I've heard that people love it. It's kind of a top-down Zelda-style RPG. Maybe if I gave it a modern chance, I would enjoy it. But I remember being confused by it as a kid. The game came out in '97, so I was 11 years old. And I remember just being like, just like confused by it and not really liking it. So maybe that's the worst Star Wars game that I've ever played. It's difficult to say, just because the Star Wars games that I have played, which is a lot, but not all, have been relatively great, you know. Even so I was just about to talk about Rebel Assault 2. Rad the Dude. Rebel Assault 2 is fun. I like Rebel Assault 2. It is one of the most difficult Star Wars games, for sure. And it would be better suited as an arcade game, for sure. But I kind of liked Rebel Assault 2 for that, like, video, that real-life video aspect of it. Does that make sense? I mean, obviously you know about it, but... Oh, hell no. Diarrhea Water Slide is fun, man. It's the worst level, for sure. Worst level in one of the best Star Wars games, in my opinion. But yeah. Fallen Order or Force Unleashed. Definitely Fallen Order, by far, for me. But yeah. I appreciate that, Nick. Oh, and Cosmic Reader, thank you so much as well. Do you think any new Star Wars live-action TV shows will be as divided with fans as the films and even cartoons? That's kind of difficult, you know. I'm gonna say, oh man, see, it's kind of different, right, Cosmic? With the movies, especially sequel movies, you're dealing with things that came before. You're dealing with expectations based around where we've seen characters before, what the state of the galaxy was in before these movies. So you're dealing with a lot of kind of notions that people have, or expectations that people have. So it's a very tall task to make something that will not divide people, that is kind of linked up with the movies that they grew up with and loved, right? So with the Star Wars live-action series or whatnot, when you're starting from a clean slate, it might be a little different, because, you know, there's not much. I mean, yes, there's lore there. There's things do connect, but for the most part, like a show like The Mandalorian, for example, is a pretty standalone show. You don't need to see much anything else. You really don't need to see any other Star Wars thing to get it, right? It is fresh, it is standalone, and there's really no reason to, like, I don't know, to get upset about it, because it's not taking characters that grew up loving and doing something new with them that might upset you, right? If that makes sense. So I'm going to say yes. I mean, it could obviously divide people. Sure, people are going to like it. People are just going to dislike it. It makes complete sense. But for the most part, I don't think it'll ever be as divisive as like sequel trilogy or even prequel trilogy movies could be that are linked up with things that people know and love, if that makes sense. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And D. Ryman, thank you so much. They should have had one person write the story for the sequels and then have whoever they want to direct it. Would have prevented from scrambling to answer all the questions that they left unanswered. Yeah, I would assume that, D, I would assume that there was an overall outline. If there wasn't, that's goofy. That I have said that on this channel's existence that there's no way that there wasn't a general outline. And maybe the idea of Palpatine coming back, it was an idea. I believe that it was even talked about in some of the Making of the Force Awakens books and whatnot. Or maybe not that blatantly, but there was a lot of imagery of it. So I would assume that there was a general outline, but The Rise of Skywalker has made me kind of second guess that narrative, you know, just because it did feel so out of left field. It didn't feel like a sequel trilogy. I mean, a sequel movie. It did not feel like a continuation. It felt like kind of a step off the path, and I don't know, a hard right into the woods. But you know, I like the idea of multiple writers. I like the idea of multiple directors. I like the idea of fresh ideas coming into the mix so things don't get stagnant. But I completely understand where and I partially agree with where you're coming from, D, because maybe there would be more cohesion with the final chapter. Maybe there would be more, I don't know, more, yeah, cohesion, I guess is the best word to put it. But anyway, D, I appreciate that, man. And a scramble is kind of a good way to put it. A scramble that is I don't know, a scramble that unnecessarily links things up. I don't know, man. Ugh. The Rise of Skywalker. I want to see it again, obviously. It's going to be a while, but but yeah. I don't know, D. I still don't really know how to feel it. I'm still pretty 50-50 on it, but yeah. Brandon, once again, first hour should have been on Disney Plus as a lead-in promo. Adam Driver killed it. He was solid from the whole trilogy. I was hoping he would make it to set up for Rey and Ben's kid trilogy. Oh man, more family stuff. Yeah, the first hour felt like it could have been in the opening crawl, right? It could have. That's how I kind of felt. It could have been in the opening crawl, you know. The first chunk of it for sure. The first 40 minutes, the first third of it, probably could have been in the opening crawl. It's the stuff that felt so herky-jerky and messy to me from a movie-making standpoint, you know. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it just felt like you were playing a game of ping pong. We got to go here to get the thing and do this and to get that. And at a certain point, you know, you're following the thread, you're following the chain of thought. But it kind of, for me, and the group that I was with, it was just kind of like a little leaving in the dust, if that makes sense. But I don't know. Yeah, throw that shit in the opening crawl. I appreciate that, man. And Ryan Joes, thank you so much once again. I don't know if you meant to send a little message in there or if you wanted to be a silent supporter, but I appreciate it all the same, Ryan. Hope you're having a good weekend. And Chris Pavato, thank you so much. Clone Wars Animated and Rebels Kyber crystals are hard to get. The Rise of Skywalker, hold my blue milk. No mill operates this way and is successful with each other. Go Navy, go Navy. There you go, Chris. Yeah, Kyber crystals, right? Hold my blue milk. Do you guys like, I don't know, Kyber crystals and stuff like that? I accept them as lore. Obviously, they're a huge piece of Star Wars canon. For whatever reason, they've always felt very generic science fiction to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, just felt very, oh, there's a magic crystal. It just has always felt very like generic science fiction to me, generic fantasy to me. Yeah, there was a lot of things in The Rise of Skywalker, I suppose, like that, where things that perhaps were difficult became trivial, or a lot of hand-wavy things, like, oh, Palpatine conjured a fleet, just whatever, big Death Star weapon, super destroyers, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But no military operates this way and is successful with each other. Go Navy indeed. But Palpatine has 1,000 big giant Star Destroyers with Death Star lasers on them. I don't think I got to the point in Rebels where Kyber crystals came up. I only watched the first season of Rebels. I'm planning on watching it eventually, but without a doubt after season 7 of Clone Wars, and after I watched the 2003 Clone Wars animated short, like the 2-hour series or whatever it is. But yeah. Anyway, Chris, I appreciate that, man. And Caleb Kemp, my stick is better than bacon. My stick is better than bacon. What does that mean? I'm lost, Carter. I mean, not Carter. Caleb. I'm lost, Caleb. My stick is better than bacon. Is that from something? I'm Googling that. My stick is better. It is something. My stick is better than bacon. Oh, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. Okay, Caleb, my stick is better than bacon. I guess Bad Lip Reading had a... 3 days ago, they uploaded... is it 3 days? Wow, it was 3 days ago? Yeah, okay. Bad Lip Reading uploaded a Bad Lip Reading of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to watch this. I did not know there was a new one. I'm usually... that's something I usually watch. I don't watch much YouTube, but those are fun, and I usually watch those. But all right. I appreciate you bringing that up, Caleb. I did not know what the hell you were talking about. There was zero context. I'm glad I Googled it. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Sergio, I can't wait for the 5 to 10 years. I can't wait for 5 to 10 years from now when kids watch The Last Jedi and they don't give a fuck what the angry nerds had to say when the film was new. Yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting, Sergio, because I've talked about this before, right? When I first started this channel, there was like 0 positive comments about the prequels. Dude, you could sift through comments on this channel, this channel's comment section for the first few years of this channel's existence, from like 2011 to 2013, maybe even further than that. 2014 even. Maybe even further than that, hell. And then at a certain point, I started seeing way more pushback about the prequel negativity. I started seeing way more positivity in the comment section about the prequels. I started seeing a lot of Clone Wars fans pop up. And the only thing that I can attribute to that, the reason behind that, is because the kids, like you were saying, grew up that you know, were fans of that and grew up with that, were born into that Star Wars and watched that as their Star Wars. They grew up to have a voice on the internet, and I saw that kind of turn in the fandom. I witnessed it, and it was very interesting to witness. So, you know, it's the Star Wars that you grew up with. It's a generational thing. The Star Wars that you grew up with is going to be probably forever and ever your favorite Star Wars, right? And there's no question in my mind that is going to be the case, you know, 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It seems cyclical, right? In that sense. Certainly was true with the prequels. Damn. Interesting. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Carter Lovejoy, Storm the Disney HQs. This is a sequel trilogy to Area 51 raid. Let's find Walt's frozen head and Disney's secret plans to dominate and take over the world. They will not stop us. Take revenge. Sarcasm. Yeah, sarcasm indeed. Well, one thing there, Carter. The Walt Disney frozen head thing is not true. It got conflated with another story. Where did I hear this? Walt Disney frozen head debunked. So, yeah. So let's see. There was. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember where I heard this, but there was like the same day that Walt Disney died, there was a story about somebody, like some kind of like cryogenic, I don't know, freezing of brains and something like. Big stories came out of the same day and that got conflated. Anyway, it's not true, but yeah. I can't remember where I heard what that story was. I'm sure it'd be very easy to look up if I had a few minutes, but yeah, this is the sequel to the Area 51 raid. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Anyway, I appreciate that, Carter. In Star Wars Cantina, thank you so much once again for the kind words and the channel support this evening. Thank you, Greedo. That really means a lot. As a very small channel, it means so much to hear from you. Thank you for taking the time to talk. I'll have to check out your book. Love the title, by the way. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, you know, I haven't been very, I guess, active in the support of Star Wars channels in the past year or so. I would say since my daughter was born, I haven't really taken the time like I used to. Back in the day, dude, I used to go on all these Star Wars channels, especially live streams. I would love to pop into live streams and tell people to keep up the good work. That was something that I really enjoyed doing. In the past 2 years, I haven't done that as much. I've done it maybe a handful of times. It's very important. Encouragement is key. You know, there's so much negativity. There's so much bullshit. There's so much just drivel. There's so much just dripping of shit throughout this website. And to show encouragement to other people who are starting channels from the ground up, you never know when that little nugget of encouragement could be such a jolt of inspiration or a jolt of I don't know, ambition, you know, a little go get it juice in there. So yeah, go get it, Star Wars Cantina. Have fun with it. That's the most important thing, right? Have fun with it. Don't get discouraged. It takes, you know, dude, there's probably 1 billion channels on YouTube. It's very difficult to kind of make it out of all the noise. The biggest thing for this channel's minor success is luck. Luck. That is the biggest thing that made this channel what it is. Big, dumb luck. I started this thing in 2011. There's really no Star Wars channels. I've been called the granddad of Star Wars channel, YouTube. It was just kind of funny. Dash Star called me that. It was kind of funny. He's a super nice guy, by the way. He gets too much shit. He's a nice guy. And I don't know. It was just, it's weird. It's weird to think about those days, for sure. And I just got lucky because 2011, relatively no Star Wars channels. I was making original trilogy videos, had no idea that new Star Wars movies were going to be made. I just got lucky. Disney acquired the franchise, new Star Wars. All of a sudden, when Disney acquired the franchise and new Star Wars was announced that it was going to be made, boom, the channel exploded. I was just right place, right time. Big, dumb luck. And I have fun. That's about it. Anyway, Cantina, best of luck, man. Look forward to checking out some of the stuff. And Hater Body? I'm an idiot. I probably butchered that. I know I butchered that. Do you think they should make a Darth Malgus film? So my thing about so I'm gonna say no. And really the reason behind that is because, you know, for me, I like, and look, I know we have Solo. I take it or leave it. It's not one of my favorite movies. It's actually one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. But when I think of Star Wars movies, I think of new characters that we're not familiar with, new scenarios, new stories. I've never wanted my Star Wars movies to be based on previous material that came before, if that makes sense. I'm not talking sequels and stuff like that. I'm talking like a new series of films. I don't want it to basically be like a retelling of some character's story or almost feel like it's adapted from a book, if that makes sense. So no, the idea of making movies about characters or whatnot that's come before, whether it be in Legends, because I believe Malgus is Legends, right? I don't believe he's, maybe he is. I'm not too sure about all that, but I like the idea of Star Wars continuously giving us new, and the idea of like a Malgus movie or something like that, honestly, is an idea that does nothing for me. I would rather the resources and the energy be put into new characters, new stories, new tales to tell, and yeah, the idea of just kind of adapting something from something else and making a movie out of it has never interested me, if that makes sense. And I might be in the minority in that opinion. Maybe a lot of people would want a Malgus film or another, I don't know, a Dash Rendar film, or insert a character that we're already familiar with here film. But for me, I would much rather just have new, you know, new. Yeah, Old Republic, that's right, Legends, okay, makes sense. But anyway, I appreciate that, Hater. And Ryan Joes, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. How do you feel about Doug Marrone? So yeah, Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone. This is Jaguars football talk, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone's last game is tomorrow. So I don't really. It's kind of interesting, you know. We had a good season last season. We were super pumped for this season. Just kind of bad decisions. So I feel like we've had a lot of ups and downs with this franchise. Once again, I'm not talking about Star Wars franchise. I'm talking about the Jaguars football franchise. Seems like there's been a lot of changes over the past like 5 years or so. Nothing has seemed to work very well. We do have, you know, Minshew, which is, he's fun, and I hope he carries over to be a franchise quarterback. He shows a lot of promise. I don't know if it's like scapegoat. I've always felt like when a lot of people get fired on teams and sports, sometimes it feels like a little scapegoating. Because if the talent's not there, whether on the field with the players, there's not much you can do. That being said, if the coaching isn't good, there's not much the players can do, right? So, I don't know. It's like, would Tom Brady be as great without Belichick? Probably, right? But would Belichick be as great without Tom Brady? I don't think so. Yeah, he's a good coach, but oh man, that guy got lucky, right? Right? That's how I've always seen Belichick. Yeah, he's got a good show. He's a good coach, but dude, he has Tom Brady. Doug Marrone would be awesome too if he had Tom Brady.
Legends when it was already told. Defeats the purpose when you know the major plot points. That's what killed Marvel movies for me.
But anyway, Ryan, we'll see what the deal is. I'm curious what Doug Marrone's going to do tomorrow. Obviously, he wants another position, at another franchise, at another team. he's gonna you know, try his hardest tomorrow to get a win, to show that he's still, he's gonna get a job somewhere else. But anyway, I appreciate that, Ryan. I'm actually getting some beers tomorrow and watching the game with a few of my buddies, some of my lifelong friends. Actually, 2 of my friends that I talk about in the book. So, kind of interesting. We're getting together. Anyway, I appreciate that. And Just Jedi, hey buddy, I'm really glad the whole season of Mandalorian. Oh, I'm really glad with the whole season of The Mandalorian. And overall, I did like The Rise of Skywalker, although it has flaws. Hope it's a great 2020 for you, man. Right back at you. Yeah, the first season of The Mandalorian was just so... I love the pacing of it, right? I loved how every episode was almost its own little standalone story. And yeah, they kind of connected, but a lot of the times it was just kind of like pace. We're going here, we're going there, we're going here. We gotta be on the run, constantly on the run. It was a very, very energetic and kinetic, intense first season. I woke up at 4 a.m. to watch every single one of them, and through the grogginess of my morning brain and the coffee breath, it was able to energize me and wake me up in the morning, every Friday. So I loved it, dude. I loved it. I can't wait for the second season. No idea where it's going to go from here. It left off on a cliffhanger of sorts, but like I said in my video, not much has changed, right? Mandalorian and the kid are kind of in the same predicament. So where do they go from here? I don't know. But JJ, I appreciate that, man. 2020, I hope it's great for you as well. The new year is almost here. What's today? 28th, so next Wednesday. That's hard to believe. So we're making I'm on Tuesday night, New Year's Eve, we're gonna do like copycat recipe of a Shake Shack burger, and we'll see how they turn out. I'm so excited though. Smash that burger, make that shake or shack sauce. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Oscar Rodriguez, hopefully new Star Wars story films are on the horizon. Hopefully they're not married to the Skywalker saga like Rogue One and Solo. That is my biggest wish, Oscar, is that we can kind of do a little sidestep and start telling new Star Wars stories that aren't married to, things that we are already familiar with. Because when you continuously mulch over the same thing, when you're kind of continuously, I don't know, just pulling from the same bowl of characters and ideas and whatnot, things get stagnant. No franchise is immune to that. I got Marvel burnout pretty quick. And the things that keep a franchise fresh is new, risky, and inventive movies. And that's what I want them to do, right? I want them to take chances. I want them to make unique and different kind of Star Wars movies. Not everything needs to kind of... people always say, well, that's a good Star Wars movie. That felt like Star Wars. Well, that's great and dandy, but I want Star Wars movies that feel different than other Star Wars movies that we've seen and felt before, right? But yeah, crossing my fingers that's going to be the case moving forward, Oscar. Crossing my fingers. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off after Nick plays Brandon Gray, Caleb Kemp, and Rodriguez once again. I'm going to hop off after that. I thought this was going to be a short stream. It flew by, though. I need another beer. Nick plays best lightsaber fight in Star Wars. I personally think either Mustafar or Vader and Luke on the second Death Star were the best. Nick, my all-time favorite lightsaber fight is... Well, it's interesting that you talk about the Mustafar fight. That was so over the top for me. And they're so different to the OT fights. Anyway, my favorite lightsaber fight, Nick, is the Vader Luke Emperor fight on the second Death Star at the end of Return of the Jedi. I love it. And the lightsabers are barely lit. the lightsaber fight is there. It's to propel the dialogue. It's there to give redemption. The lightsaber fight is like almost a narrative storytelling device, right? The Emperor, Vader, and Luke. I just love it through and through. As Luke is kind of hiding in the shadows, his eyes are closed. Vader is toying with him, talking about, if you won't turn, then maybe she will. And Luke pops up and says, "Never." He yells "never," and he just goes swinging for the fences wildly. He's lost his control. He's let his emotions get the best of him, and he's wailing on his father, on Vader. It is such a fantastic build-up and moment to the end of that trilogy, and that's why it's my favorite lightsaber fight of all time, because lightsaber fights to me are best when they are also conversations, and that was more conversation than fight for sure. And that's what's interesting to me. If you have Grievous, sure, people love Grievous, but when you have Grievous and he's got a 13,000 lightsabers, Neato really doesn't do anything for me. Yippee skippy, cool. It's Christmas lights. That's what it is. It's Christmas lights on a big house. For me, the best lightsaber fights are also conversations, But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Brandon Gray 666, new characters drive the franchise forward. Why tell a story from Legends when it was already told? Defeats the purpose when you know the major plot points. That's what killed Marvel movies for me. That's kind of, I suppose. It wasn't necessarily that things that were already new about Marvel movies that killed it for me. It was just kind of, they became so formulaic to me, I suppose. But I could not agree more. New characters, new stories, propel a franchise forward. I've never understood why you would want to make a movie about a video game, or at least from a standpoint of telling a story that's already been told at another medium, I suppose. It does not interest me whatsoever. And I think that's one of the big reasons that Solo was kind of a little letdown for me, or really not. It's grown on me a little bit. I've seen it maybe 6 times so far. It's grown on me. I can just kind of look past some of the things that I dislike, and it's a fun little movie. But one of the things that the reasons that Solo was just a big shrug to me is because a lot of the things that are in it is just kind of Han Solo, what we already know about Han Solo condensed in a 2-hour package, right? Han Solo meets Chewbacca, Han Solo meets Lando, Han Solo plays Sabacc, Han Solo sees the Falcon, flies the Falcon, Han Solo wins the Falcon, Han Solo does the Kessel Run. It's just like a big bowl of what we already know and can expect in a Han Solo movie shoved in there, and that's kind of why it feels kind of like what you're talking about, Brandon, right? Like, we already know a lot of this stuff. This is all stuff that, we know kind of happened, and it all happens within like a very, very short time in Han Solo's life. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. Couldn't agree more. And Caleb Kemp, apologies for the no context bad lip reading, but highly recommend watching My Stick. It's hilarious, and I've had it stuck in my head since release. LOL. Yeah, after this stream, I'm actually going to go downstairs. My wife put my daughter down for bed. We're going to watch some Crown. But before we watch The Crown, we have 2 episodes left of The Crown. If you guys haven't watched The Crown, it is one of the best shows I've watched in a very long time. We're on the 3rd season. Only 2 episodes left in the 3rd season. Anyway, so I'm going to put it on the downstairs TV, and we'll watch it together. How about that? But yeah. Anyway, Caleb, I appreciate that, man. And Oscar Rodriguez, based on early trailers and stills, I honestly thought The Rise of Skywalker would have a Hobbit 3-esque plot. Resistance versus First Order versus a resurrected Empire. Kind of a 3-way fight. Yeah, I guess the First Order wasn't really... What happened to them? I'd have to watch the movie again. I'm sure people have talked about this already, but I didn't see any of the Hobbit movies, Oscar. For whatever reason, I heard the first one wasn't that great, and kind of, I never found out myself. I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies in the theater with kind of the same group of guys. But for whatever reason, the Hobbit movies I never watched. So, Resistance versus First Order versus a Resurrected Empire, a three-way fight. I'm going to have to look that up. Now that I think about it, what did happen to the First Order? Were they very present in, like, the final battle at all? Were they fighting alongside? Yeah, they must have been fighting alongside the Resurrected Empire, right? I didn't really notice that. I guess they were. I'm going to look that up. Anyway, I need to see those Hobbit movies just so I can see what all the disappointment is about. Then again, there's so much great stuff to watch that and our time is so limited on what we can watch with a kid that I kind of have to pick and choose carefully what I want to watch, right? Anyway. I appreciate that, Oscar. Yeah, I'm going to do a stream before the New Year's, definitely Saturday, at some point. I'm not too sure. Maybe Monday, Tuesday. Oh, wait. Is Tuesday New Year's Eve? Yeah, so I'll do a stream on Monday. I might do an afternoon stream. We'll see. But anyway. All right, guys. I got to get going. That was an hour and a half. I expected it to be 30 minutes, but I appreciate the hell out of everybody chatting with me, asking me fun questions. I appreciate the hell out of everybody supporting the channel this evening. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. You know, it's fun to talk about all this stuff. You guys know how I feel about The Rise of Skywalker, and to see, it's interesting because I constantly see people on Twitter saying, I'm losing followers because I don't like a movie. Well, who gives a shit? You know, if somebody's going to not follow you because you didn't really care for a movie, or if you like the movie and they're going to unfollow you, shrug your shoulders. Who cares? But people are so level-headed on this channel, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that level-headedness. We have good conversations. It's fun. It's always pleasant. We poke fun, but it's never with any vitriol or hate. You got to be able to laugh at yourself and the dumb things that you do and you're into, right? So I appreciate everybody hanging out with me for an hour and a half tonight on this Saturday night. 9:22 p.m. down here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'll stream at some point on Monday. I'm hoping to get a video out Monday as well, leading into the new year, but things are so hectic still. I don't know when I'll get around to making a couple videos that I really want to make, so we shall see. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out this evening. To everybody that supported the channel through Super Chats, I appreciate it, guys. To everybody who tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, be nice. Have fun. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like, and leave people alone, right? Like what you like. All right, everybody. See ya.